Ever found it hard to swallow or chew your food? You're not alone. It's a common issue, but one that's often brushed aside. However, understanding why these difficulties might occur is more important than you might think. After all, eating is not just a matter of survival, but also of pleasure and social interaction. So, when this fundamental process becomes a struggle, it's about time we paid attention. Today, we're going to delve into the hard truth about swallowing. Specifically, we're going to highlight 6 potential causes that might be making your meals more of a battle than a banquet. From medical conditions to lifestyle factors, these causes can be as diverse as they are impactful. But don't worry, knowledge is power, and in understanding these causes, you're taking the first step towards making mealtimes enjoyable once more. Ready to dive into these 6 causes? Hold on to your hats, folks. First on our list is a medical condition known as dysphagia. Dysphagia, in the world of white coats and stethoscopes, is the term used when someone has problems swallowing. Now let's break that down a bit. Imagine you're trying to swallow a chunk of your favorite dessert, but oh no, it feels like it's stuck in your throat or chest. That, my friends, is what dysphagia feels like. Now, dysphagia isn't some sneaky little gremlin that pops up out of nowhere. It's typically a symptom of another underlying health issue. It could be due to problems with the esophagus or perhaps a neurological disorder. Whatever the cause, the end result is the same: trouble swallowing. And it's not just food we're talking about here. Even liquids and saliva can pose a challenge. So if you're struggling to swallow, dysphagia could be the culprit. But don't worry, we're here to help you navigate these choppy waters. Next up is a condition you might not be familiar with: xerostomia. Now that's a mouthful, isn't it? Xerostomia, or as we laymen often call it, dry mouth, is a condition where your salivary glands don't make enough saliva to keep your mouth wet. Quite simply put, it's like having a personal Sahara in your mouth. Now, why is this a problem? Well, imagine trying to eat a peanut butter sandwich without a sip of milk. Not the most pleasant thought, is it? You see, saliva is our unsung hero. It helps us chew, taste and swallow our food. Without enough of it, every bite becomes a battle. Moreover, saliva protects our mouth from infections by controlling bacteria and fungi in the mouth. So a dry mouth isn't just uncomfortable, but it can also lead to more serious health issues. Remember, if your mouth feels like a desert, xerostomia might be the reason. Ever heard of TMJ disorders? They might be causing your chewing issues. TMJ, or temporomandibular joint disorders, are problems affecting the jaw joint. A bit like a hinge that connects your jaw to the side of your head. In medical terms, these disorders can cause pain in your jaw joint and the muscles controlling jaw movement. But let's simplify that a bit. Imagine a rusty hinge on a door. It creaks, it groans, and sometimes it just doesn't move the way it should. That's exactly what's happening with your jaw when you have a TMJ disorder. It can hurt, it can pop, and it can certainly make chewing a real challenge. So, if you find yourself struggling to get through a juicy steak or your favorite crunchy vegetables, TMJ disorders might just be the culprit. It's not just about discomfort, it's about the joy of eating. So if your jaw is giving you grief while eating, TMJ disorders could be to blame. To wrap up our list, we have 3 more causes to consider. Let's start with oral cancer. In medical jargon, this refers to cancer that develops in any part of the mouth. But let's simplify it. Imagine a group of unruly cells deciding to throw a party in your mouth with no invitation. That's oral cancer for you. It can cause pain, sores, and difficulty in swallowing or chewing. Next, we have Sjogren's syndrome. Sounds like a Scandinavian thriller, doesn't it? Well, it's a bit less exciting. This is an autoimmune disorder where your immune system mistakenly attacks your body's cells and tissues. In this case, it targets the glands that produce tears and saliva. It can lead to dryness, making chewing and swallowing feel like you're trying to down a spoonful of cinnamon. Finally, let's talk about achalasia. It's not a spell from a wizarding world, but a rare disorder that affects your esophagus, the tube that carries food from your mouth to your stomach. With achalasia, this tube fails to open up properly, making swallowing feel like trying to squeeze a watermelon through a keyhole. So, if your meals feel more like an episode of Man vs. Food, you might just be dealing with one of these culprits. And while they might sound intimidating, remember, knowledge is power. Understanding these conditions can be the first step towards getting the right treatment and making your meals enjoyable again. From oral cancer to achalasia, any of these could be making your meals a challenge. But remember, tough times don't last, but tough people do. And you, my friend, are tougher than you think. So the next time you find it hard to swallow or chew, remember, it's not just about the food. It's about you, your health, and the power you have to change things. There you have it, folks. From oral cancer to achalasia, any of these could be making your meals a challenge. So, we've covered a lot today, haven't we? We've delved into the truth about swallowing, acknowledging that it's not always as easy as it seems. We've discussed dysphagia, a condition that makes it tough to swallow, which can be a real pain in the esophagus if you catch my drift. We've also talked about xerostomia, or dry mouth, and how it can turn a juicy apple into a desert trek. Then we touched on TMJ disorders, where your jaw has a mind of its own, making chewing a real workout. And of course, we've shed light on the more serious causes like oral cancer, Sjogren's syndrome, and achalasia, which can turn mealtime into a daunting task. Remember, knowledge is power. If you're struggling with these issues, reach out to a medical professional. You're not alone, and help is available. Stay strong and keep on chewing.